Your soulmate is in your city. Here's the picture and exact location. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you. And if your chest just tightened a little, that's how you know your heart needs this right now. Because nothing about this moment is accidental. You didn't end up here by chance. You were guided here, gently, deliberately, like the universe whispering your name through the noise, saying slow down, pay attention, because what you've been praying for in silence is finally lining up in real life. And I need you to hear this clearly. Your soulmate is not lost, not delayed, not far away. They are closer than you've ever imagined, in your city, on streets you already know, under the same sky you look up at when you're wondering if love will ever feel safe again. Don't scroll, listen to this, because the waiting you've endured wasn't punishment, it was preparation, and every heartbreak, every almost connection, every moment you thought, why not me? Was shaping your soul to recognize what's coming next. And listen, this message is for you, especially if you've been seeing the signs but brushing them off, the repeated numbers on the clock, 1111 when you're thinking about love, 222 when you're doubting your path, 444 when you feel alone at night. Those aren't coincidences, those are confirmations, angel numbers lining up like mile markers saying you're on the right road even when it doesn't feel like it. And your heart needs this right now, because you've been strong for so long, carrying hope quietly, pretending you're okay with being patient when deep down you just want someone to see you, to choose you, to feel like home, and the universe has seen that, every tear you didn't explain, every time you loved with good intentions and got lessons instead. It was all recorded, all honored. And now the energy around you is shifting. You might feel it already, that restlessness, that pull to go somewhere new or revisit a familiar place, that sudden curiosity about a coffee shop, a grocery store, a park, a random event you almost skip. Don't ignore that nudge, listen to this, because that's how destiny whispers before it speaks out loud, and this message is for you if you've been healing, even when no one applauded you for it, if you've been learning to set boundaries, learning to trust yourself again, learning to love without losing yourself, because the connection that's coming isn't chaotic, it's calm, it's grounding, it feels like recognition, like your nervous system finally exhaling, and when you cross paths with them. And you will, it won't feel forced, it'll feel familiar, like your soul saying, there you are, and your heart needs this right now, because this isn't just about romance, it's about alignment, about two timelines finally syncing after years of almosts, and listen closely, because here's the part most people miss. The universe often shows you the sign before it shows you the person. You may see a picture, a symbol, a name, a location that keeps popping up, something that makes no logical sense but won't leave your mind. Don't scroll past that feeling, listen to this, that's the preview, that's the universe saying get ready, and if you've been feeling extra emotional lately, nostalgic, reflective, or unusually hopeful for no clear reason, that's not weakness, that's activation, your heart is waking up to the fact that the chapter you're entering requires softness, openness, and courage, and this message is for you because you're closer than you think, closer than you've ever been, and soon, sooner than your fear expects. You'll be standing in a place you almost didn't go, looking at a face you almost didn't notice, feeling a connection you can't explain but don't need to, and everything will click, the delays, the detours, the loneliness, the growth, all of it will suddenly make sense, and your heart needs this right now, because this is not the end of your story, it's the turning point, and the universe didn't bring you this far just to leave you wondering. So stay open, stay present, and whatever you do, don't ignore the next sign, because part 1 ends here, but what's coming next will change how you see love forever. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and before your mind tries to rationalize why you're still here, pause for a second, because your heart needs this right now, and the reason you're feeling that quiet pull in your chest is because something is shifting beneath the surface of your life, even if nothing around you looks different yet. And listen to this carefully, because the universe never interrupts you without purpose. And you didn't just stumble onto these words, you were guided here at the exact moment your soul was ready to hear them, and this message is for you if you've been carrying a strange mix of peace and longing lately, like you're finally okay being alone but still secretly hoping love will find you in a way that doesn't hurt, because that feeling is alignment. That's what it feels like when you're no longer chasing but you're also not closed. When you're standing in the in-between space where destiny can finally reach you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe has been watching how you move now, how you choose yourself, how you walk away from what drains you without explaining, how you no longer beg for clarity from people who confuse you, and your heart needs this right now because that growth wasn't just for your own healing, it was a signal that you're ready to meet someone who won't trigger your survival instincts but will speak directly to your soul. And listen, this message is for you because the person meant for you has been feeling it too, even if they don't have words for it yet, that same restlessness, that same sense that something important is coming, and the universe has been weaving your paths closer together quietly, rearranging schedules, nudging choices, closing doors that would have delayed this meeting. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the signs have already started showing up for you. The repeated numbers that catch your eye when you're thinking about love, the sudden memories resurfacing for no clear reason, the dreams that feel comforting instead of chaotic, those are not random, those are confirmations, those are the universe reminding you that you're not behind, you're right on time, and your heart needs this right now because you've spent so much of your life being strong, being the one who holds it together, being the one who understands, that you forgot what it feels like to be met halfway. And the connection that's coming isn't going to ask you to prove your worth or shrink your needs, it's going to recognize you instantly. And listen to this carefully, because when that recognition happens, it won't be loud or dramatic, it will be calm, almost subtle, like a deep breath you didn't know you were holding finally being released. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe often tests your patience right before it delivers what you asked for. And if you've been feeling moments of doubt creep in lately, questioning whether you imagine the signs or if you're being naive for still believing, that's the final resistance. That's the last layer of old fear trying to protect you from disappointment, and your heart needs this right now because you're not meant to live guarded forever, you're meant to experience love that feels safe, steady, and mutual. And listen, this message is for you if you've been feeling pulled toward certain places lately, even if you can't explain why. An urge to go somewhere familiar at a different time, to take a different route, to say yes to something small you would have normally skipped. Don't ignore that, that's intuition guiding you into position, because timing and location matter more than you think, and the universe is precise when it comes to aligned meetings. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when you finally cross paths with this person, the shift won't just be emotional, it will be energetic. Conversations will feel easy, silence will feel comfortable, and you won't feel the need to perform or impress. And your heart needs this right now because you've been tired of guessing where you stand, tired of overthinking every interaction, and the love that's coming doesn't play games with your nervous system, it brings peace. And listen to this part closely, because after that first interaction, signs will accelerate, synchronicities stacking on top of each other. Confirmations showing up faster than your doubts can keep up, and you'll start noticing how everything in your life led you to that moment, how every delay protected you, how every ending redirected you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe didn't make you wait just to tease you, it made you wait so you could receive this without fear running the show. And your heart needs this right now because you were never asking for too much, you were just asking the wrong people. And the connection that's coming meets you where you are now, not where you were when you were still healing. And listen, this message is for you because soon you're going to realize that love doesn't have to be dramatic to be deep, it doesn't have to be painful to be meaningful, and when it arrives, it will feel natural, like something that was always meant to happen. And don't scroll, listen to this final moment, because the universe is not done speaking to you. This is only the confirmation, the calm before the shift, and the next sign you receive will not be subtle, it will be personal, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. And when it happens, you'll understand why your heart needed this right now, why you were guided here, and why everything up until this moment unfolded exactly the way it did. Don't scroll, listen to this message is for you. And before you tell yourself you've heard things like this before, pause, because your heart needs this right now. And the reason these words feel heavier, warmer, more personal than usual is because they're meeting you at a precise moment on your timeline, a moment the universe marked a long time ago. And listen to this carefully, because when divine timing activates, it doesn't feel loud, it feels intimate, like the universe leaning in close and saying your name softly. And this message is for you if you've been feeling like you're standing in a strange calm after a storm, not quite where you want to be yet, but no longer where you used to be, because that in-between space is sacred, that's where alignment happens. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the signs around you are not slowing down, they're increasing. And if you've been seeing divine numbers more frequently, 111 when you're thinking about new beginnings, 222 when you're questioning whether you're on the right path, 333 when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, 444 when you're craving stability, 555 when you feel change coming but can't explain why. That's not coincidence, that's communication. Those numbers are spiritual checkpoints reminding you that you are supported, protected, and guided even when you feel uncertain. And your heart needs this right now because you've been asking for reassurance without saying it out loud. And the universe answers energy before it answers words. And listen, this message is for you because the love you're calling in now is responding to the healed version of you, not the wounded one. And that's why it feels different, quieter, more intentional, because this time love isn't coming to rescue you, it's coming to walk beside you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the person meant for you is already moving through their own confirmations, seeing their own signs, feeling their own pull, and the universe has been mirroring your growth in both directions, synchronizing your readiness like two frequencies finally matching. And your heart needs this right now because you've been afraid to fully trust the process after being disappointed before. But listen to this truth, the delays you experienced were not denials, they were divine recalibrations, moments where the universe said, not like this, not yet, not with them, because it was protecting the future version of you who could finally receive love without fear. And don't scroll, listen to this. Because the reason things feel quieter emotionally is because chaos is no longer your compass, peace is, and that's how you know you're close, because soul-aligned connections don't arrive with anxiety, they arrive with clarity. And this message is for you if you've noticed your intuition getting sharper lately, if you can sense when something isn't right without needing proof, if you feel guided to rest, to slow down, to observe more than react, because that's spiritual maturity. And your heart needs this right now because you're being prepared to recognize love when it appears in a subtle form, not wrapped in drama or intensity, but wrapped in consistency, presence, and mutual effort. And listen to this carefully, because soon you're going to experience a moment that feels ordinary on the surface but significant underneath, a conversation, an interaction, an exchange of energy that lingers longer than it should, and you'll feel a quiet knowing you can't explain, like your soul leaning forward saying, "This matters," and don't scroll. Listen to this, because after that moment, the divine numbers will spike. Confirmations will stack, synchronicities will multiply, and you'll start noticing how effortlessly things flow when you stop forcing outcomes. And your heart needs this right now because you've been conditioned to believe love has to be hard to be real, but the connection that's coming will challenge that belief by feeling easy without being shallow, deep without being draining. And listen, this message is for you because the universe is not testing you anymore, it's trusting you, trusting that you won't ignore the signs, trusting that you won't settle out of fear, trusting that you'll follow intuition even when logic can't fully explain it. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the next phase of your life requires courage of a different kind, not the courage to endure pain, but the courage to receive joy, to let yourself be seen, to allow someone to show up for you without suspicion. And your heart needs this right now because part of you is still waiting for the other shoe to drop. But listen to this truth, love aligned with your soul doesn't come to take something from you, it comes to add to what you've already built. And this message is for you if you've been feeling called to release old narratives about love, old vows you made in survival mode, old beliefs that told you you had to earn affection, because those beliefs cannot come with you where you're going. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe doesn't send signs endlessly without intention, it sends them until you're ready to act. And the divine numbers you keep seeing are not just reassurance, they're invitations, invitations to trust the timing, to stay open, to move when you feel guided. And your heart needs this right now because the meeting you're being prepared for is not accidental, it's intentional. And when it happens, you won't need external validation to know it's real. Your body will relax, your mind will quiet, and your spirit will recognize familiarity without history. And listen to this final part carefully, because what's unfolding now is bigger than romance. It's alignment across every area of your life, and the love that's coming is a reflection of the stability, clarity, and self-respect you've cultivated. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe is closer to delivering than you think, and the next divine number you notice is not just a sign, it's a reminder that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, right before everything changes in a way your past self once prayed for but your present self is finally ready to receive. Don't scroll, listen to this, this message is for you, and if you've made it this far, that alone is confirmation that your soul is still listening even when your mind gets tired, because your heart needs this right now in a way you might not fully understand yet. And listen carefully, because the universe doesn't repeat itself unless you're meant to receive the message at a deeper level. And what's happening around you right now is not random. It's refinement, the quiet kind that doesn't announce itself with chaos but with clarity. And this message is for you if you've been feeling different lately, not sad, not ecstatic, just aware, more aware of your energy, your time, your emotional boundaries, more aware of what drains you and what nourishes you, because that awareness is the final preparation before something real enters your life. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the reason you're not as reactive as you used to be is because your nervous system is learning safety. It's learning that peace doesn't mean boredom, it means alignment. And your heart needs this right now because for so long you associated love with intensity, with uncertainty, with waiting for the other shoe to drop, and the universe has been gently untangling that belief from your spirit, showing you through endings and pauses that what's meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. And listen, this message is for you because you've reached a point where loneliness no longer scares you, but settling still does, and that balance is powerful. That's the frequency where soul-aligned connections can finally recognize you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe has been closing chapters behind the scenes that you didn't even know were still open, conversations fading, attachments loosening, emotional cords dissolving, not to punish you, but to make space. And your heart needs this right now because space is not emptiness, space is invitation, and the love that's coming cannot enter a life that's overcrowded with old stories. And listen carefully, because soon you'll notice that the memories that once hurt no longer sting the same way, the names that once triggered emotion now feel neutral, the questions that once kept you up at night no longer need answers. And don't scroll, listen to this, that's not forgetting, that's healing completing its cycle. And this message is for you because the version of you that begged the universe for relief has evolved into the version that can finally receive abundance without fear. And your heart needs this right now because receiving is harder than surviving. It requires trust, and trust is what the universe has been building in you slowly, patiently, moment by moment. And listen to this truth. The connection that's approaching your life is not coming to shake your foundation, it's coming to stand on it with you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you're about to experience love that doesn't rush you, doesn't confuse you, doesn't make you question your worth. And that may sound unfamiliar to you, even uncomfortable at first. Because chaos used to feel normal, but your soul has outgrown that pattern. And this message is for you if you've noticed that you're no longer attracted to potential, you're attracted to presence, to consistency, to effort that doesn't need to be chased. And your heart needs this right now because that shift in desire is what aligns you with someone who can actually meet you where you are. And listen carefully, because when this person enters your life, it won't feel like fate crashing in, it will feel like fate settling down, like something clicking into place quietly, steadily. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you might be tempted to overanalyze it at first, to look for red flags out of habit, to wait for the confusion you're used to. But listen, this message is for you because peace can feel unfamiliar before it feels safe. And the universe is asking you to stay present instead of projecting old fears onto a new connection. And your heart needs this right now because you've spent enough time protecting yourself from pain. Now it's time to let yourself be surprised by ease. And listen to this, the reason things feel slow right now is because the universe is teaching you patience without anxiety, waiting without suffering, trusting without needing proof. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the love that's coming is not late, it's timed. It's arriving at the exact moment you can appreciate it without clinging to it. And this message is for you because you're finally ready to experience love as a choice, not a struggle, as a partnership, not a test. And your heart needs this right now because deep down you're tired of lessons, you're ready for something lasting. And listen carefully, because the next phase of your life is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about allowing yourself to be known, fully, honestly, without armor. And don't scroll, listen to this, because vulnerability will be your doorway, not your weakness. And the universe will not ask you to open up unless it knows the energy meeting you can hold that truth with care. And this message is for you if you've been feeling called to slow down even more, to simplify, to choose quality over quantity in every area of your life, because simplicity creates clarity, and clarity attracts alignment. And your heart needs this right now because the noise of the past is finally quiet enough for you to hear what's next, and listen to this final truth, because it matters. The universe is not preparing you for a moment, it's preparing you for a season where love feels steady, where laughter comes easily, where you don't have to wonder if you're too much or not enough. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when you look back on this time, you'll realize this was the calm before everything shifted, the pause before the meeting, the silence before the answer. And your heart needed this right now, not to convince you, but to remind you that you are already aligned, already worthy, already exactly where you need to be for what's about to find you. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and if your eyes are still here reading every word, that alone is a sign that your soul is leaning forward, because your heart needs this right now in a deeper way than you've been able to explain to anyone. And listen closely, because what's unfolding in your life right now isn't loud or dramatic, it's quiet and intentional. Like the universe clearing its throat before saying something that will change everything, and this message is for you if you've been feeling an unusual stillness lately, not emptiness, not boredom, but a calm that feels unfamiliar, like you're standing in the eye of a storm that already passed, because that stillness is not absence, it's readiness. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe does its most important work in silence, and right now it's sealing timelines, closing energetic loops, and aligning you with what you asked for long before you were healed enough to receive it. And your heart needs this right now because you've been learning to sit with yourself without needing distractions, without needing constant validation, and that self-trust you've built is the final key. And listen, this message is for you because you are no longer operating from lack, even if you still want love, even if you still feel the longing. You're not empty anymore, you're full of awareness, and that's why the love that's coming won't feel like rescue. It will feel like recognition. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe is very careful about who it sends into your life now. It won't send chaos to someone who has learned peace, it won't send confusion to someone who has chosen clarity. And your heart needs this right now because you've outgrown connections that thrive on uncertainty, and that's why your tolerance for mixed signals, half-effort, and emotional guessing games has disappeared almost overnight. And listen carefully, because this shift didn't happen by accident, it happened because you finally chose yourself even when it felt lonely, even when it felt like you were letting go of possibilities. And don't scroll, listen to this, because letting go is what made space, and space is where aligned love enters. And your heart needs this right now because the next connection in your life will not compete with your peace, it will complement it. And listen, this message is for you if you've been noticing how your intuition speaks more clearly now, how you sense when something is meant for you and when it's not without needing proof. That clarity is not coincidence, it's spiritual maturity. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe has been teaching you discernment so you don't mistake familiarity for destiny again. And your heart needs this right now because you've loved deeply before, but this time you're being invited to love wisely. And listen to this truth. The person who is coming into your life is not going to trigger your old wounds the way others did. They will notice them, respect them, and never use them against you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you're finally ready to experience love that doesn't feel like work, that doesn't require constant reassurance, that doesn't leave you guessing where you stand. And your heart needs this right now because you've spent years interpreting silence, decoding behavior, and making excuses for inconsistency. And the universe is done asking you to survive love. It's preparing you to enjoy it. And listen carefully, because when this connection arrives, it will challenge you in a new way, not by causing pain, but by requiring trust, by asking you to relax, to stop scanning for danger, to believe that something good can stay, and don't scroll. Listen to this, because that may feel harder than heartbreak ever did. And your heart needs this right now because part of you is still more familiar with loss than with stability. But listen, this message is for you because stability is not boring, it's nourishing, and the love that's coming will feel like a soft place to land after a long journey. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you may notice that the universe has been slowing you down intentionally, making you wait, making you pause, making you reflect, not to test you, but to protect what's on its way to you. And your heart needs this right now because rushing would have connected you to the wrong energy, and waiting aligned you with the right one. And listen, this message is for you if you've been feeling gratitude for small things lately, moments of contentment without needing anything extra, because gratitude is a magnet, and the universe responds quickly to it. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the next phase of your life will feel lighter, not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. And your heart needs this right now because you've been the emotional container for too many people who couldn't meet you where you were, and the universe has released you from that role. And listen carefully, because the love that's approaching your life will not drain you. It will energize you, it will inspire you to be more yourself, not less. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when this person shows up, you won't feel the urge to chase or prove anything. You'll feel grounded, curious, open, and calm. And your heart needs this right now because calm used to scare you, it used to feel like nothing was happening, but now calm feels like safety. And that's growth. And listen, this message is for you because you are no longer repeating cycles, you are closing them, and the universe doesn't close cycles unless it's ready to open something new. And don't scroll, listen to this, because what's coming is not fragile, it's built on timing, alignment, and mutual readiness. And your heart needs this right now because you've learned that love isn't about intensity. It's about consistency, not about promises, but about presence. And listen carefully, because soon you'll realize that everything you went through wasn't to harden you, it was to refine you, to teach you what to accept and what to walk away from without guilt. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe is not bringing you a lesson this time, it's bringing you a reflection of the work you've done, the boundaries you've set, the self-respect you've cultivated. And your heart needs this right now because you're finally ready to be met, not halfway, not conditionally, but fully. And listen to this final truth, because it matters more than you think. The reason this message feels so personal is because it is. It's not meant to rush you or convince you, it's meant to steady you, to remind you that you are already aligned with what's meant for you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when everything falls into place, you won't feel shocked, you'll feel calm, like something you always knew was coming finally arrived. And your heart needed this right now, not to give you answers, but to remind you to stay open, to stay present, and to trust that what's meant for you is already finding its way to you. Don't scroll, listen to this, this message is for you, and if something in you feels steadier yet more alert right now, that's because your soul is recognizing a deeper truth, one that doesn't rush or beg for attention, but quietly asks you to stay present, because your heart needs this right now in a way that goes beyond hope and into knowing. And listen carefully, because the universe doesn't keep you listening this long unless something important is unfolding, and what's unfolding is not a moment, it's a transition, a crossing from who you were protecting yourself as into who you're ready to live as. and this message is for you if you've noticed that your reactions have softened but your boundaries have strengthened, if you no longer feel the urge to explain yourself to people who don't listen, if you've stopped chasing clarity and started choosing peace, because that shift is not subtle in the spiritual world, it's loud, it's visible, it's magnetic, and don't scroll, listen to this. Because the universe responds fastest to people who finally trust themselves, and your heart needs this right now because you've spent so much of your life questioning your instincts after others made you doubt them, and now those instincts are coming back online, clearer, calmer, more grounded than ever before. And listen, this message is for you because the love that is approaching your life is not entering chaos, it's entering order. It's entering a space you created by choosing healing even when it felt lonely. And don't scroll, listen to this, because loneliness did not weaken you, it refined you, it taught you how to sit with your thoughts, how to hear your intuition without interference, how to distinguish between attachment and alignment. And your heart needs this right now because the universe only brings soul-level connections to people who can hold them without fear running the show. And listen carefully, because you are not being prepared to fall into love. You are being prepared to stand in it, steady, present, self-aware. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you may notice that lately you don't romanticize people as easily as you used to. You see them more clearly, you feel their energy more honestly, and that clarity is protection, not cynicism. And your heart needs this right now because you are no longer meant to learn through disappointment, you are meant to learn through discernment. And listen, this message is for you because the universe has been slowing your pace intentionally, removing urgency from your desires so you don't mistake impatience for intuition again. And don't scroll, listen to this, because what's meant for you will not require you to hurry, it will meet you where you are. And your heart needs this right now because part of you still equates waiting with being forgotten. But listen to this truth. Waiting is not abandonment when alignment is happening, it's refinement, and the universe refines what it values. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the connection that's coming into your life is not meant to fix you or fill a void, it's meant to walk beside you as you continue becoming. And that kind of love requires two people who are emotionally present, spiritually awake, and grounded enough to choose each other daily. And your heart needs this right now because you've finally reached a point where you don't need to be chosen to feel worthy. You already know your worth. And listen carefully, because that self-worth is the signal, that's what calls in someone who recognizes you instead of trying to change you. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you may feel moments of uncertainty arise as this alignment gets closer, not because something is wrong, but because your nervous system is learning a new baseline, one that doesn't involve anxiety or inconsistency. And your heart needs this right now because peace can feel unfamiliar before it feels safe. And listen, this message is for you if you've been tempted to self-sabotage recently, to pull back, to numb out, to distract yourself just as things feel calm, because that's old conditioning trying to keep you in familiar discomfort. And don't scroll, listen to this, because awareness breaks patterns, and you are aware now. And your heart needs this right now because the universe is not asking you to be perfect, it's asking you to stay present, to stay open, to stay honest with yourself. And listen carefully, because when this connection begins to take shape, it will not feel like a rush of emotions you can't control, it will feel like a grounded choice, a quiet yes that grows stronger over time. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you're entering a season where consistency will mean more to you than intensity, where effort will matter more than words, where presence will outweigh potential. And your heart needs this right now because that shift is what allows something lasting to take root. And listen, this message is for you because the universe is not giving you what you once begged for, it's giving you what you're finally ready to sustain. And don't scroll, listen to this, because sustaining love requires self-trust, emotional regulation, and the ability to receive without suspicion, and you've been building those muscles quietly, patiently, without applause. And your heart needs this right now because soon you'll see why it had to happen this way, why certain connections fell apart, why certain doors never opened, why certain timing never worked. And listen carefully, because hindsight will bring peace instead of regret, understanding instead of resentment. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe does not waste pain, it repurposes it into wisdom. And you are carrying wisdom now, not wounds, and your heart needs this right now because wisdom attracts a different kind of love, one that meets you in clarity instead of confusion. And listen, this message is for you because you are no longer in a phase of proving, chasing, or convincing, you are in a phase of allowing, and allowing is powerful. And don't scroll, listen to this, because allowing does not mean passivity, it means trust, it means discernment, it means choosing what feels aligned instead of what feels familiar. And your heart needs this right now because you are closer than ever to experiencing love that feels like home, not like a test. And listen carefully, because the universe is not done aligning details yet. There are still small shifts happening behind the scenes, conversations you haven't had, places you haven't gone, moments you haven't stepped into yet. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when those moments arrive, they will feel natural, not forced, timely, not rushed. And your heart needs this right now because you are not late, you are not behind, you are exactly where you need to be for what's next. And listen to this final truth, because it matters deeply. The reason this message keeps finding you is not to hype you up or keep you waiting, it's to ground you, to remind you that alignment is already happening, that love is already moving toward you in a form that matches who you are now, not who you were. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when it arrives, you won't need signs anymore, you'll feel it in your body, in your breath, in the way your life begins to feel lighter, steadier, more whole. And your heart needed this right now. Not to convince you of anything, but to remind you that you are already ready, already aligned, and already walking towards something that will meet you with the same care you've finally learned to give yourself. Don't scroll, listen to this, this message is for you. And if you're still here after everything you've heard so far, that's not because you're bored or curious, it's because something inside you recognizes that this moment matters, and your heart needs this right now more than you've been willing to admit, because you are standing at the edge of a completion, a closing of an old cycle that defined you for longer than you realized. And listen carefully, because the universe doesn't bring you to the final stage of a message unless you're ready to integrate it, not just hear it. And what you're integrating now is trust, not blind hope, not desperate wishing, but grounded trust in yourself, in timing, in what you feel without needing permission from anyone else. And this message is for you if you've noticed that your inner voice has become quieter but stronger, less frantic, more certain, because certainty doesn't shout, it settles. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe has been watching how you respond to silence lately, how you no longer rush to fill it with distractions or people who don't meet you, how you've learned to sit with unanswered questions without panicking. And your heart needs this right now because that ability to stay present in uncertainty is what makes you ready for what's next. And listen, this message is for you because the version of you that once begged the universe for love has transformed into someone who can receive it without losing themselves. And that transformation didn't happen overnight, it happened through heartbreaks you didn't think you'd recover from, through goodbyes you didn't want, through moments you questioned your worth, and don't scroll, listen to this, because every single one of those moments carved wisdom into you, even when it felt like they were breaking you. And your heart needs this right now because the universe never intended those experiences to define your future, only to prepare you for it. And listen carefully, because you are no longer in the phase of attracting lessons disguised as lovers, you are in the phase of attracting mirrors, reflections of your growth, your boundaries, your emotional availability. And don't scroll, listen to this, because mirrors can feel unsettling at first. They show you how far you've come, but they also require you to show up fully, honestly, without masks. And your heart needs this right now because authenticity is the currency of the next chapter of your life, not performance, not overgiving, not self-sacrifice. And listen, this message is for you if you felt a subtle grief lately for the version of yourself that tried so hard to be chosen, because that version deserves compassion, not shame. And don't scroll, listen to this, because honoring who you were is how you step fully into who you are becoming. And your heart needs this right now because the universe doesn't ask you to forget your past, it asks you to release its control over your present. And listen carefully, because you've already done the hardest part. You stopped abandoning yourself, and that single shift changed everything energetically. And don't scroll, listen to this, because from that moment on, the universe began recalculating your path, removing people who only knew how to meet you in pain, and preparing you for connections that can meet you in peace. And your heart needs this right now because peace can feel unfamiliar when you've spent years navigating emotional turbulence, but unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong, it means new. And listen, this message is for you because the next phase of your life is not going to feel like a dramatic breakthrough, it's going to feel like steady alignment, like things finally making sense without you having to force them. And don't scroll, listen to this, because you may notice that your desires have simplified. You no longer crave intensity for validation. You crave consistency for safety, presence for connection, honesty for trust. And your heart needs this right now because that clarity is what attracts something real, not fleeting. And listen carefully, because the universe is not testing your patience anymore, it's testing your discernment, asking you to notice what feels right instead of what looks exciting. And don't scroll, listen to this, because excitement fades, but alignment deepens. And your heart needs this right now because you are finally capable of choosing depth without drama, love without chaos, intimacy without fear. And listen, this message is for you if you've been feeling moments of anticipation that don't have a clear reason, a sense that something meaningful is approaching even though you can't see it yet, because that's intuition sensing movement before manifestation. And don't scroll, listen to this, because intuition speaks first through feeling, not proof. And your heart needs this right now because trusting that feeling is how you step into the life that's been forming around you. And listen carefully, because when the next connection fully enters your life, it will not rush you, it will not confuse you, it will not ask you to compromise your self-respect. And don't scroll, listen to this, because that kind of love may challenge you in a quieter way, by asking you to stay open when it feels safe, to communicate instead of assume, to receive instead of overgive. And your heart needs this right now because those are new skills, not old wounds. And listen, this message is for you because the universe is not repeating lessons, it's confirming readiness. And don't scroll, listen to this, because readiness doesn't mean you have no fear, it means fear no longer makes your decisions. And your heart needs this right now because you've learned how to feel fear without obeying it. And that's power. And listen carefully, because the life you're stepping into is not one where everything is perfect, but one where you feel grounded enough to handle Imperfection without losing yourself, and don't scroll, listen to this, because that groundedness is what allows love to last, to grow, to deepen instead of burn out, and your heart needs this right now because deep down you're ready for something steady, something mutual, something that doesn't disappear when things get real. And listen, this message is for you because the universe is not asking you to do anything more, it's asking you to stay aware, to stay open, to stay aligned with what feels true in your body, not just your thoughts. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the final phase of alignment is surrender, not giving up, but letting go of control, of timelines, of expectations shaped by fear. And your heart needs this right now because surrender is what allows life to surprise you. And listen carefully, because when everything finally comes together, it won't feel overwhelming, it will feel natural, like something clicking into place that was always meant to fit. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when that happens, you won't need confirmation from the universe anymore, you'll become the confirmation, grounded, present, at peace. And your heart needed this right now, not to promise you something external, but to remind you of something internal, that you are already aligned, already worthy, already prepared, and whatever is coming next is not arriving to change you. It's arriving to meet you exactly as you are, and that is the quiet miracle you've been growing toward all along. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and if you feel a strange mix of calm and anticipation right now, that's because you're standing in a moment the universe has been preparing you for longer than you realize, and your heart needs this right now, not as motivation, not as fantasy, but as grounding truth, because what's unfolding in your life is no longer about becoming someone else. It's about fully inhabiting who you already are. And listen carefully, because the universe only speaks this clearly when you're finally quiet enough inside to hear it. And this message is for you if you've noticed that lately you don't feel the need to chase clarity anymore, you don't need to force conversations, you don't need to convince anyone of your value, because something inside you has settled, and that settling is sacred. It's the moment when survival gives way to intention. And don't scroll, listen to this, because intention changes everything, and your heart needs this right now, because for so long your life was shaped by reaction, responding to what hurt, what left, what disappointed you, and now you're entering a season shaped by choice, choosing what aligns, choosing what feels honest, choosing what doesn't require you to shrink or perform. And listen, this message is for you because the universe has been watching how you respond to alignment lately, how you no longer romanticize potential over reality, how you trust consistency more than chemistry, how you recognize peace as attraction. And don't scroll, listen to this, because that shift is rare, and it's powerful, and it's why the next chapter of your life will feel different from anything you've experienced before. And your heart needs this right now because deep down you know you can't go back to who you were, even if that version felt safer at the time, because safety that costs you your authenticity is not safety, it's stagnation. And listen carefully, because you're no longer here to repeat cycles, you're here to end them. And this message is for you if you felt moments of grief for old dreams, old timelines, old versions of love that never materialized, because grief doesn't mean you failed, it means you grew. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe doesn't replace what you lose with something lesser, it replaces it with something truer, something that fits who you've become. And your heart needs this right now because you've reached the point where you don't need to be rescued, you don't need to be completed, you don't need someone to validate your existence, you're whole, and wholeness attracts wholeness. And listen, this message is for you because the love that's aligning with your life now is not coming to disrupt your peace, it's coming because of it. And don't scroll, listen to this, because peace is not passive, it's a frequency, and you've been broadcasting it without even realizing it. Through your boundaries, through your honesty, through the way you've stopped tolerating emotional confusion, and your heart needs this right now because the universe responds to clarity faster than it responds to longing, and clarity is what you've cultivated. And listen carefully, because you may notice that as alignment gets closer, temptation appears, old patterns trying to re-enter, familiar energies testing whether you'll choose comfort over growth. And don't scroll. Listen to this, because those tests are not setbacks, they're confirmations, and your heart needs this right now because choosing differently is how you anchor the new timeline. And listen, this message is for you if you felt stronger in saying no, even when it felt uncomfortable, if you've chosen rest over chaos, if you've chosen yourself without apology, because those choices echo loudly in the spiritual realm. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe does not ignore self-respect. It responds to it, and your heart needs this right now. Because the next phase of your life will ask you to stay anchored in that self-respect even when things feel good, even when excitement returns, even when attachment tempts you to abandon yourself again. And listen carefully, because the real test of growth is not how you handle pain, it's how you handle joy. And don't scroll, listen to this, because joy requires presence, openness, vulnerability. And those things can feel risky after everything you've been through, and your heart needs this right now because you are being invited to trust life again, not blindly, but wisely. And listen, this message is for you because wisdom doesn't close your heart, it teaches it discernment, and discernment is what allows love to deepen instead of overwhelm. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe is not rushing you into anything, it's pacing you, teaching you to move in rhythm instead of reaction. And your heart needs this right now because rhythm creates sustainability, and sustainability is what lasting love is built on. And listen carefully, because when what's meant for you finally arrives in full form, it will not sweep you off your feet and leave you disoriented, it will ground you, steady you, and make your life feel more like itself. And don't scroll, listen to this, because familiarity without history is a sign of alignment. And your heart needs this right now because you've mistaken anxiety for excitement in the past, and now you're learning to recognize calm as connection. And listen, this message is for you because the universe has been stripping away illusions from your desires, showing you what truly matters, presence over performance, honesty over charm, effort over promises. And don't scroll, listen to this, because that clarity is your protection, and your heart needs this right now because you're stepping into a season where what you allow will shape everything. And listen carefully, because allowance is power, and power handled with awareness becomes peace. And don't scroll, listen to this, because peace is not the absence of emotion, it's the presence of safety, and you are learning to create safety within yourself first. And your heart needs this right now because that inner safety is what attracts outer stability. And listen, this message is for you because you are no longer waiting for life to start, you are living it, intentionally, consciously, aligned. And don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe meets people where they stand, not where they wish they were, and you are standing in readiness now. And your heart needs this right now because readiness doesn't mean knowing every step ahead, it means trusting yourself to navigate what comes. And listen carefully, because that trust is what allows miracles to feel natural instead of shocking. And don't scroll, listen to this, because when everything finally unfolds, you won't feel like something extraordinary happened, you'll feel like something true finally arrived. And your heart needed this right now not to promise you an outcome, but to remind you of your alignment, your growth, your readiness. and the quiet truth that whatever is approaching your life is coming to meet you, not change you, not test you, but walk with you in a way that feels steady, mutual, and real, and that is the kind of destiny that doesn't announce itself with noise, but with peace.